Yeah, a lot of these tribes, at least on the business side of the aspect, which
Yeah, they're real savvy, right, with the business part. And
yeah,
we've learned the language really well. We've learned how to negotiate. We've learned how to use law in our favor. But we still need to, so now we're circling back to, in that circle, to learn
mhm,
our language, to learn our songs, to learn our culture, including learning our history. And a lot of that had been lost. So when our country was invaded, when the Cahuilla lands were invaded first by the Spanish, later the Mexicans, and then later the Americans, we were put under great um, limits where we weren't allowed to travel. There was
mhm.
genocide across the land. People, if they saw you, they would just hunt you down. They would kill you. And so rather than passing on these traditions, we were fighting for our lives, just fighting for survival. And so some of those families that did maintain those traditions, they stayed far away from the the greater culture where the oppressor was at,
Mhm.
and so they stayed away up in the mountains. And but those songs, those stories, those histories are being retold now to
Yeah,
our
from your
people.
history, first the Spanish came over, and I want to say I read it was somewhere around the 1500s. Is that when the Spanish came and built missions?
It's
They converted a lot of your people to Catholics,
in
right?
what was it, in 1776 is when they built that first mission. 1769 is when the first fathers, they decided that they were worried, the Spanish were worried about the Americans coming into California, coming into the Southwest. And so they said, okay, we need to take hold of our land in the north. So they left Mexico City. They went north with one father, Junipero Serra, and then they
What was his
also
name?
Junipero Serra,
Hmm.
and then they're also there were soldiers, and so they came to prophesize to convert the native people to build missions in California. And so there was, as we know, there was what, 21 missions.
Hmm.
And but when the first villages that they came to down in the San Diego area, they killed the people. They killed the people, and then and on their deathbed they said, okay, if you if you take this Eucharist and you drink this wine, you're going to be saved. And that part, I I completely disagree with. And there's they were being forced onto something at their death point, and they didn't understand. We had heard that there was people coming up from Mexico, that invaders were coming, but we weren't sure exactly what it was. And but the missionaries, they brought disease, they took over the land, but what they brought was weapons, the technology that we did not have. They
Hmm.
brought guns and rifles, so, and all the blades, and we didn't have that type of technology here.
The guy that you mentioned, his name was
The father,
he,
Junipero Serra,
he's the one that brought the missions
he brought the
up north
missions.
to California, right?
Yes,
And he's the one that brought. So is your tribe still Catholic? Do a lot of people practice Catholicism?
we have a church that was built on our reservation in 1911,
Hmm.
but there's a couple people that are Catholic, and although I'm Catholic,
Hmm.
I was
I know a lot
baptized
of.
Catholic, but there's not. There used to be more, but there's not a lot. I think there's a lot of backlash. I'll say.
Mhm.
against the church.
Yeah, the Native American church, right? So you guys, are you a part of the Native American church?
The Native American church?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where you practice both Catholicism and traditional Native teachings, right? Or how exactly is that? Does that work?
Well, through the Native American church, there's different fractions of it. And so I don't think there's anything official or unofficial, but we have some circles here where we use the traditional methods, but we're not incorporating any of the church part of it. It's still so because that's using the
It's almost contradictive. I would
using
feel.
the medicine peyote.
Mm.
Yeah, that shining light. And so when in order to get it approved way back when, so they said, okay, we're going to incorporate this medicine along with some of the church teachings together, because there's a lot of similarities, and so that's how it was presented. But now there's it's like broken off from that, and it's all native
Okay, so
teachings.
there's more. So factions. You say there would be some that are more traditional, more leaning towards the Native aspect, and then all the way down to people leaning more to the Catholic aspect.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've seen where people are very heavily Catholic, but they'll still do dances, and then they'll do their dances at religious meetings, and then there's other people who believe that you should not be dancing, doing Native dances when it has to do with the Catholic teachings. And so I feel like there's a lot of controversy surrounding the Native American church, because you got the people who hid within the Native American church under Catholicism to keep these teachings alive. And then you got now we're coming out of that age where it's safe to be Native again, and people want to decolonize and get rid of the church. And so where are you on that side?
So you're bringing up a very, very good point, Dylan. So you have to look at God. Who is God? What is God? And I know for myself, I was thinking, okay, here's Sean, who is baptized Catholic. And then also went to there was another church. It was a community church in Palm Springs, like all through middle school and high school. But then, so you have that. And then you have your Cahuilla traditional beliefs. And then you have someone who goes to sweat lodge and who participates in sun dances. And then you have someone that's also following the half moon ceremonies, the teepee ceremonies. So where does God fit into all of this? And so when I was sun dancing, I said, God, just help me, help me understand, who you are in my place. And so what I heard, Creator just told me to just focus on my prayers, and it doesn't matter what different people call God. Just pray from your heart and be respectful and mindful. But I have come to the understanding that we all pray to the same God. It's the exact same. It's the same God. God came to different people around the world at different times since the very beginning when the earth was created. And when God created, when he had all these different people around the world, he came to them. And according to their culture, their history, their geography, their topography, the geology, according to the plants and the mountains, all that played a part in their history. And so God had different meanings, different names. And so it's
different interpretations.
So Jesus is the same person who our Creator is, Umna, the greatness of all things. Um, and but in the church, a lot of it's being taught by people from Western thinking. But if you listen to it, there's a lot of teachings where they're teaching about love, humility, and compassion. And that's what we're taught. We're also taught to take care of our families. We're taught to be warriors. We're taught to be strong. Um, and always give of ourselves. And so if you were to look at all these teachings around the world, if you say look up, there are three basic things that they offer. They're all very similar, So it's my understanding, and I've only just come to this realization, not that I've heard it from anybody else. I've never heard anybody talk about it. None of our elders, and they always say it's somebody different. But for me, there's only one God, and so wherever I go, I pray that those people pray. But how I pray at home, I'll go to church with my wife on the weekends. That's where she feels comfortable, the Catholic Church. But then I also do our sweat lodges. I go to our other circles, and I pray that way. And my wife, she comes with me too. She helps me out, and we pray together.
Yeah, that's powerful. Me personally, I have a very similar understanding that I've come to. I also grew up in the church when I was younger, the Christian church, not the Catholic Church. But I feel like personally, God is everything. God is all. We're masculine and feminine energies, and everything. To be honest, because if you really think about it, there has to be something that has always existed. There has to be something that didn't just begin, it just always was. And in that sense, that's what I believe God is.
So for the Cahuilla, it started out, you had Amna, the greatness of all things, this masculine energy. And then there was Tukmiat the night, this female energy. And those beings came together. They wanted to procreate. They wanted to create life. So those beings came together 3 times, and every time they came together, flashed all different colors of lights. But on that 3rd time, that's when a seed was concocted, was generated, was formed, was created. And so that seed split into 2, and so then it was 2 brothers, Mukat and Temayawat, that they became the creators of life.
I also believe that everything has a spirit, from plants to humans to animals. Everything's alive.
Everything is alive. And we talk about that, how, creator, it's breathes energy. So when, 2 beings, the female and the male energies can come together, man and woman, and create life. That happened, but it's creator spirit, or not a spirit, but breathes that energy, breathes that life into that child. Cool.